Bad news for AEW, as it looks like they just canceled a major stadium show that was set for 2025. We are going to talk about the latest on this endeavor. Why is AEW downgrading their arena for All Elite Wrestling Grand Slam on February 15th from Australia? What went wrong? Why exactly they choose to go to Australia in the first place? All that and much more coming up. We're also going to be talking about Brock Lesnar, someone who you don't hear about in WWE circles too much these days. Paul Heyman had some very interesting comments about the latest on Brock Lesnar and his status with WWE. All that much more coming up right here in this video. So be sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Just don't hit the camera like I just did. Anyway, so AEW obviously is in the midst of preparing for a major 2025. They have a stadium show in Japan that they have set up. They have they had a stadium show for Australia. They had a stadium show set up for All in Texas. So multiple stadium shows internationally. They are trying to grow the brand, but one of those isn't happening, and it is indeed the Australia one, as ticket sales for that show have not been doing well. We're going to take a look at an aggregation from this account called AEW Ticketmap Updates. It says AEW will now be running Grand Slam Australia from Brisbane Entertainment Centre in Brisbane, Australia on February 15th. AEW had their site set on 50K, but only sold 10,000 tickets, around 10,000 tickets. That's 6,000 VIP, 4,000 regular. All tickets to Suncorp Stadium will be honored at the Entertainment Center. For those of you who are wondering, this new arena that AEW is running has a seating capacity of in the ballpark of 13,500. So definitely a downgrade from the over 40 to 50,000 capacity of Suncorp Stadium, which is pictured to the right of your screen here. This show has always been an interesting, and one could even say dubious, proposition for AEW, because we had heard that they were looking to run a stadium show. This was earlier in the summer. This was in the lead up to one of their biggest stadium shows of the year, that being AEW All in Wembley Stadium. And the thought was that they were going to go to Australia for the first time. And much like when they went to England for the first time, there was going to be a fervor, a desire to see meaningful professional wrestling on a big stage with some of the biggest stars in the world, in the continent, and you were going to get people flocking to that show. I think that was always going to be a bit of a risk for them from the get-go, and the risk didn't pay off here. Like, let's be honest. If you are trying to sell a show for a first time in a market that you are a distant number 2 in Australia, which we've come to know that they are, like, they were not on a major network in Australia either. They only recently got on ESPN, and I think the door is probably going to be more and more open to them over the next couple of years for them to maybe grow internationally as WWE, and they're going to be losing a lot of their TV deals as a byproduct of being on Netflix now. So there's going to be spots opening up on bigger wrestling or on bigger channels in general globally for AEW to showcase their stars and get access to more people, but they're just not there yet. The fact that they only sold 10,000 tickets to the show proves that. And do not get me wrong, selling 10,000 tickets is still a good thing, especially when you consider how little AEW has really been marketing Grand Slam Australia. They had a big showing first when it was first announced. They had sent Tony Storm, they sent Paul White, and there was a lot of media around it in that week. But then that whole buzz kind of died down, and you hadn't really seen the importance there. I think, part of that is the fact that they are still a growing company. They have had a million other shows that they need to sell tickets for in the meantime. So that kind of like long distance, planning from a marketing standpoint just wasn't in place to make the show successful. That's my estimation of it from someone who works in marketing and PR. And it's one of those things you have to be like very, very consistent about it, especially when it's your first time there in that market, and especially in a hard market, right? This isn't London. This is not a global travel destination. London, Brisbane are two completely different things. And especially when you're talking about where you're most popular in North America, the prospect of people traveling from North America to Brisbane for a show is a lot harder than, being like, we're going to London. Flights are cheaper. Flights are not as long. And, things are not as expensive when you're doing that. That is just the nature of the traveling wrestling fan, which AEW has a lot of traveling wrestling fans. Like, that is a big reason why their major pay-per-views are always going to have at least 10,000 people there, because people travel to those shows, and you see a lot of the same people at these shows. So I think that it was always a bit of a dubious proposition for them. And it didn't work. They took a gamble here, and it did not work. That does not mean that they're a failure. I think there was this idea out there that, if this show didn't sell, or they had to downgrade arena, that means this company's cooked and they're gonna die tomorrow. Fact is, they're not. I mean, they are a growing company. They took a massive risk and it didn't pay off, but they're still going to be around, and they're still going to be around to probably try this again in a couple of years. And let's also not pretend like Australia is an easy market to work with. Like, even like WWE had trouble selling out that stadium. They still sold 50,000 seats or whatever it was, and that's an amazing achievement for them. And amazing. But there were still very large sections of that stadium that were tarped off. So they didn't do as well as they thought they were going to. And again, this is not a contest or whatever, but it is just trying to show you that even for the by far industry leader in this, it is hard to operate in that market. And Perth, Australia, itself was a very difficult proposition, even for people who live in Australia, considering it's the last, it's the only city on one of the coasts. But regardless, AEW is moving the show. They're moving to a smaller arena. And look, one thing that is still going to be true is they've sold right around 10,000 tickets. 6,000 were VIP that were sold early, and the ticket sales really fell off after that. But there's still a chance to create a unique look, a unique vibe, and I think it's still going to be an exciting kind of thing to see AEW's first ever Australia show, their first, outside of Wembley, their first big international show like this, or one of the first big international shows they're going to be doing. So I think there's going to be a lot of buzz around it. And there's also the rumor, and this is a rumor, this is not a report, so speculation. There's also a report out there, a rumor. See, I did it to myself. There's a rumor out there that there's the potential of turning this into a Max special. So it wouldn't be an AEW pay-per-view in theory, but instead it would be a special that they would run on Max for people to view. And I think that could be a really good way to hook people into AEW and introduce them with a big show like this, but not charging them for it. I think if they book it like a pay-per-view, like they normally do, and make it available on Max for just Max subscribers, that would be big for them in the United States to probably expose some people to the product. So we'll see what happens, though. Obviously, again, bad news for AEW in that they are now kind of downgrading the arena, but also it's a move they had to do at the end of the day. But guys, I'm going to make sure that you guys are in whatever arena you want to be, whether you're going to AEW World's End, whether you're going to the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, no matter where you're going, what you're doing, SeatGeek is the place to get your tickets. And today, yes, today, you are going to be able to save $20 off your next purchase thanks to SeatGeek. Here's what you got to do. All you got to do is sign up for SeatGeek, and then at checkout, use the promo code REALTAKE. Yes, that is promo code REALTAKE. I have one now. REALTAKE. Use that promo code and you save $20 off your first purchase. Sign up for SeatGeek. Promo code REALTAKE. $20 off. It's as easy as that. SeatGeek is the best sports ticketing app out there today. They rate their tickets on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know precisely the kind of deal that you are getting. And today, I am going to save you $20 with the promo code REALTAKE. Click the link in the description below. Use the promo code REALTAKE at checkout. It's just as easy as that, and you save $20. Go do that, guys. Check it out. And Now let's move on and talk about the beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar has not been seen on WWE TV in quite a while now, and for good reason. We probably won't see him on WWE TV for a while. He, of course, was at least alluded to in the Vince McMahon, Janelle Grant lawsuit. But Paul Heyman recently on Shaq Wrestling did an interview, and he was speaking about Brock Lesnar, and here's what he had to say: based on both love and appreciation for the man and a healthy dose of absolute fear of the man, I will neither confirm nor deny my knowledge of even the existence of a species on this planet that carries the name Brock Lesnar. He was Paul Heyman is funny. Paul Heyman is a funny guy. He, of course, was on Shaq Wrestling, and he was talking about Brock Lesnar. He was, asked specifically there by Shaq about, like, if he speaks to Lesnar, and that's, like, literally what he says. So that's the update that he provided. Of course, in recent months, Triple H has stated that Brock Lesnar will be back whenever he wants to. That has been refuted by reporting that TKO and executives in WWE do not want Lesnar back. So that's kind of where things stand. I personally, I don't think we're going to see Brock back anytime soon. I think one thing that is true about this new regime with TKO is they are going to be way more resistant to the bad press than WWE ever was under McMahon, or would be under the sentiments and beliefs of like Nick Khan or Triple H. I think they're just so adverse to that because it is such a killer of their momentum that they're trying to build up from a business standpoint. And any mention, any allusion to that lawsuit, which Brock Lesnar on TV would definitely conjure up, I think they would rather just not deal with it. So for that reason, I don't expect Lesnar to be on TV. It's also a case of, do you really need Brock on TV? Like, we're at the point now where you have so many attractions, you have so many stars, you have The Rock back. Where does he fit into this roster? And, we know he can always come back and do like a big match and it'll work or whatever. But at the same time, you have a whole bunch of other guys who can come back and do that. A whole bunch of other girls who can come back and do that. So, again, there's a lot of talk about it. We don't know what's going on with this situation, but if I had to guess, I would say this is a situation where TKO is just like, nope, I don't want to touch this. So that's kind of where we stand there, guys. Let me know in the comment section, though, what you think. Also, let me know what you guys think about the whole AEW Australia situation. Is it bad news for AEW? Are they in the mud? Let me hear from you in the comment section. Also, be sure, if you haven't already done so, to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.